The Triumph of Amma'S Grace, a feathery fable for the entire family. For Amma, the omnipresent divine self, aglow in every heart. Chapter 1. Mother of All. Listen, dear ones, and I'll tell you a tale. A story so cool it will make your mind sail. A story of triumph in tragedy's face. The story of a courageous little bird named Grace. Grace had been a devotee of God from her life's very start, with loving prayers and songs to God always blossoming from her heart. She'd sung in churches and temples, prayed in mosques and synagogues, and meditated with groups of birds, and even bugs and frogs. Of all the holy places, she liked the seaside best, for there she felt a special peace, in the breeze, God's sweet caress. And then one day she met Amma, near San Francisco Bay. She flew into the program hall, she just couldn't keep away. She watched the darshan for a while, and then landed on Amma's arm. She knew this woman giving hugs could never do anyone harm. One look into those radiant eyes, and her heart opened up like a flower. Her whole being filled with peace and bliss. My God, this woman has power. Grace knew she'd met the goddess of all, alive in human disguise. And now her prayers all flew to her, our Amma with the glowing eyes. Chapter 2. Love Song. And now, some 6 months later, Grace was ready for a whole new life. She hoped to raise a family and live free from fear and strife. With this in mind, she built a nest in a blueberry bush by the sea, using dozens of twigs, choosing only the best, and weaving them together carefully. For she knew she would soon have a very special guest. She was going to have a baby! Oh, yes! Her heart was overjoyed dreaming of the birth, a precious angel on its way to bless our Mother Earth. And then one lovely afternoon the sacred gift arrived, a gorgeous speckled egg with a baby bird inside. Grace cooed and stroked it tenderly and placed many kisses on it. And then she just felt so in love that she sat right down upon it. She sang her egg a love song that filled the sky with joy, a song so sweet it touched the heart of every girl and boy. Chapter 3. Blown Away. But fate had some tests in store for Grace, some difficult lessons she would soon have to face. For the wind was jealous of Grace's egg. His pain had been stirred by her love song, and now he has to plot to steal the egg, though he surely knew it was wrong. The wind, you see, was full of smog from cars and factories, which clouded his mind with desire and rage, while making him wheeze and sneeze. So soon, above the ocean brewed a mighty hurricane, with howling winds more powerful than a speeding railroad train. Raindrops fell in sheets from the sky, and Grace did everything she could to keep her egg all warm and dry, as any good mother would. But then came the hurricane winds, whipping in with so much fury that their little nest started shaking. Grace was really starting to worry. The wind howled like wolves. Bolts of lightning split the sky. Raindrops flew like bullets. Giant branches sailed right by. And then a sudden blast of wind blew the nest right off the bush. Grace and her egg were both thrown out with a frightening, noisy whoosh. With Herculean effort, Grace tried to protect her egg, and managed to cushion its landing by catching it on her legs. Oh, thank God it didn't crack. Her baby was okay. Grace shielded the egg while holding tears back. Oh, what a terrible day. And though the wind tried pushing her off with blow after gusty blow, she clung to the sand with all her might and kept her head down low, praying with all her heart and soul for Amma to give her strength and protect her precious baby, no matter the storm's length. And so she waited courageously until the break of day, wet and shivering in the sand, for the storm to pass away. Finally the golden sun arose within a clear blue sky. "The hurricane's gone," she cried with relief, heaving a weary sigh. She then said prayers of thanks to Amma for getting them through the night, and promised to always remember her and live always in her love and light. She then made a little hole in the sand where her precious egg could rest, and off she flew to find more twigs to build another nest. Chapter 4. Ocean of Trouble. But fate had a tougher test coming along, an assault from a different direction. For the ocean, too, had heard Grace's song, and desired the object of her affection. The ocean, you see, had been polluted by people's sewage and junk. The poor fellow just couldn't think straight. All that sewage had gotten him drunk. And soon there was a rumbling beneath the ocean floor. It was an earthquake, and then a tsunami began to roar. This wave was more than 30 feet tall and 1,000 miles wide, racing towards the coastline, giving fish a wild ride. Grace was in the forest, unaware of what was coming, high in the treetops finding twigs, a bhajan to Amma humming. But then she heard the roaring and turned her head in shock to see the monstrous wave crash in, destroying a mile-long dock. "My egg!" she screamed as she flew through the air with all the speed her wings could bear, just in time to see her egg being taken to the ocean's lair. Grace almost had a heart attack. She couldn't bear the pain. Her mind collapsed. The grief and shock were simply too much strain. As if she'd been shot, she plummeted down from high up in the sky. If she hit the earth from such a height, poor Grace would surely die. But then, at the very last second, Amma opened up her wings and helped poor Grace land safely, the protection devotion brings. Grace stood trembling upon a rock as the tsunami wave retreated, feeling her pain and grief increase till her brain grew overheated. But then she remembered the power of God, divine power beyond any gauge, and soon her despair had been transformed into focused, determined rage. "You mean old ocean!" she screamed at the bay, with tears streaming down her face. "You give my egg back now, I say! If you don't, I'll put you in your place!" At this the ocean chuckled. "Oh, this I've got to see! An itty-bitty bird like you was going to threaten me? Oh, ha, ha, ha! And with that, a little wave slapped Grace upon the knee. "And by the way," the ocean said, "I do adore your egg. I'm keeping it safe and warm inside a clamshell. I just might make it eggnog with a dash of nutmeg, or scramble it up with onions. Who can tell?" Chapter 5. Drop by Drop. "You better not!" cried Grace, her face full of fear and fury. "Oh, help me, God!" she cried. "Amma, you've got to hurry!" And then she ran as fast as she could down to the ocean side to do whatever she could to somehow stop her baby's slaughter. "If you don't return my egg right now," she boldly cried, "I'll take out every drop of your stupid salty water." And with this, Grace dipped her little body in the sea, and then marched 10 paces up the beach. She then shook her feathers quite vigorously, until every little drop the ground had reached. And again she ran courageously down to the ocean side, and submerged her whole body in the sea, and then marched back up to where the sand was dried, and shook every last droplet free. The ocean only snickered. "How pathetic can you get? But Grace kept right on working. "I'll empty you out yet!" Hour after hour she continued with her labor, making it a puja that her soul could truly savor. With every single step she would chant the name Amma, and while shaking off her feathers she'd cry, "Amma, Amma, Amma!" She kept her mind absorbed in God while carefully doing her job, but sometimes her grief became too much, and she'd let out a pain-filled sob. "Oh no, I failed," her thoughts would holler. After all, she'd been working now for hours, and the ocean didn't seem even a little bit smaller, despite her 700 showers. But what choice did she have? Was her baby doomed to die? She shoved the thought away and shook a teardrop from her eye. She had to succeed, there was no other way. Surely Amma wouldn't let her fail. And so she continued throughout the day, spraying drops from her head to her tail. Chapter 6. Garuda. Well, high up in the sky, even higher than the sun, a huge eagle was watching Grace's plight. This was no earthly bird, but a great divine one. It was Garuda, the eagle of golden light. You see, there's an ancient Hindu tale, a legend with many a verse, that says God himself has an eagle, that he rides throughout the universe. Garuda is God's friend, his very favorite pet, and he also serves as the Lord's private jet. Of course, these days, when so many are askew, lots of people doubt that the legend's really true. But I say it is. In fact, I know it's true. For I've seen Garuda myself. Have you? So, just when our beloved Grace was about to collapse and fall, from exhaustion, dehydration, and despair about it all, Garuda flew from the heavens into the earthly sky, his form blocking the sun as he hovered way up high. "Dear child of God," he called to Grace, "your rescuer is here. I've come to tell you that your time of victory is near. Your dedicated efforts have won Divine Mother's heart. From here on in, Garuda plays your part." And out Garuda flew over the vast ocean blue, his divine voice thundering all the way to Kalamazoo. "Listen, brother ocean, you've committed a terrible sin. And if you don't give her egg back, I'm going to do you in. If you think God isn't watching you, your brain is in a muddle. You give that egg back now, or I'll splash you like a puddle." And with this, he began to beat his wings with a technique never before seen, till the ocean's water began whirling around like water in a washing machine. "Stop!" cried the ocean. "You're making me all dizzy. What's more, you've got the fish in a terrible tizzy. Come on, I'm getting nauseous. Garuda, I give up." "Okay, I'll give the egg back. Now stop, or I'll throw up." Garuda slowly stopped beating his wings, and the cyclone winds died down. "All right," he said, "let's see the egg. Cough it up, you big wet clown." And in the next moment, a wave rolled in and washed over Grace's legs. And when it had receded, she found between her feet her beloved, speckled, precious baby egg. Not scrambled, not eggnogged, not hard-boiled or fried. "He's alive! My darling baby is alive!" Grace cried. She cooed and kissed it tenderly, shedding many tears, of course, and then sat down upon it as if it were a horse. "Don't worry, Grace," Garuda said. "I'll make you a new little nest." And with a wink of his eye, he materialized one. And baby, this nest was the best. Grace gently placed her egg in the nest, and then climbed in upon it to have a good rest. "I'll put the nest here for you, Grace," Garuda said, "higher than before and further back. Don't worry, up here you'll be fully protected. I assure you there'll be nothing you lack." Chapter 7. The Friendship. "Now, I just want to give you some advice," Garuda said, "something that will help you as you live. I know the wind and ocean both did terrible things, but now you've simply got to forgive. You see, they've had it quite rough of late. They've both had a terrible time, for people have been polluting them with smog, petroleum, and slime. No wonder they acted badly. Neither one of them can think. So full are they of poison, trash, and toxic chemical stink. And though their actions were very bad, to forgive is a great divine virtue. Wrong actions are only done when we're sad, so have compassion for those who hurt you. And remember, whatever happens in your life has its roots in your own past deeds. We reap what we've sown. So is it right to blame them when in a past life you planted the seeds? If you don't forgive them, Grace, somehow, some way, in the long run it will only hurt you. So try to see it all as a great divine play, designed your faith in God to renew. I don't know, Garuda, said Grace with sad eyes. I don't think I could forgive them, unless they apologize. Well, okay, Grace, Garuda said. I guess that's fair enough. I'll tell you, for a 6-inch sparrow, you're really pretty tough. All right, brothers, you heard what she said. It's time to apologize. Make it short and sweet, and try to use your head, and I want to see tears in your eyes. The wind spoke first. I'm sorry, he said, letting out a sad, windy moan. I just get so terribly lonely at times, blowing up here all alone. My brain gets all fuzzy, what with all the smog and smoke. I almost can't breathe. The pollution makes me choke. But still, it was wrong to try to steal your egg. I guess I'm just a big old lonely windbag. And with this he started crying, shedding lakes full of tears, and blew his nose so loud 1,000 people plugged their ears. And then he said the magic words that pacified Grace's fears. I'll never do it again if I live 1,000,000 years. Okay, said Grace. That sounds pretty good to me. I forgive you completely, Mr. Wind. But what about you? She queried the sea. If you ask me, you've really sinned. Sad to say, said the ocean, but the truth is I was drunk. For people have been polluting me with sewage, oil, and junk. But I shouldn't make excuses. I know what I did was wrong. I guess I just got desperate when I heard your sweet love song. I wasn't going to eat the egg. I swear to the Lord above. I took it 'cause I'm lonely and want somebody to love. And with this, he started sobbing. And it was such a sorrowful sound that all the fish got a headache and several big ships ran aground. You can love me, said the wind to the ocean. I'll be your very best friend. In fact, if you stop that noisy commotion, I'll be your friend to the very end. Please don't cry, said Grace to the sea. Your sorrow has truly touched my heart. I forgive you, Mr. Ocean. I forgive you, do you see? From now on, a friendship let's all start. So Grace and the ocean and the wind all agreed to be friends with each other and with all those in need. Would you like to join their friendship? It's based on a simple creed. Be loving and kind to everyone, in thought, word, and deed. Chapter 8. The Blessing. Their agreement made, Garuda smiled and flew off way up high, but returned after only a minute, his form again filling the sky. And when they looked up to see him, the three friends were totally thrilled, for on his back rode Amma, radiant and bliss-filled. Amma wore a crown of gold, and her sari was a brilliant red. Her long black hair was blowing in the wind, and a halo was around her head. For Amma is love incarnate, come for the world's salvation. She's pure compassion, the mother of all, the giver of God realization. She dwells within each one of us as pure awareness within the heart. She's the infinite cosmic consciousness of whom we're all a part. She's hearing each and every thought that passes through your head. For we're like beads on a necklace, and she's the divine thread. How lucky you are to know Amma, my fortunate young friends, for her grace is the magic medicine by which all suffering ends. Sailing through the sunlit sky upon the golden eagle, Amma looked totally adorable, divinely radiant and regal. She raised her hands in blessing. Amma is happy with you, she said. And then she threw flower petals that landed on Grace's head. She threw some into the ocean, too, and some to the wind-filled sky, and then sent them all a cosmic hug, a sweet blessing from on high. God is happy with all of you, she said with a beautiful smile. Now share God's love with everyone. Spread peace mile after mile. With this, she gave a namaste and flew off through the sky above. And now she sends her blessing to you, an embrace of infinite love. Chapter 9. The Moral? Well, that's the end of the story, dear ones, but not quite the end of the book. For there's surely a moral here somewhere, if only we take a good look. Think about it a little yourself. Can you guess what the moral is? Yes, Narada. Do you have an idea? I've found the moral. I'm such a whiz. Here it is. If you're gonna sing love songs near the deep blue ocean, bring an umbrella and a scuba suit along with your suntan lotion. Then, if a storm starts blowing in, the umbrella will come in quite handy. And if a huge wave comes rolling in, with your scuba suit on, you'll look dandy. Of course, if the weather is sunny and a giant wave doesn't come, you might look a little bit funny, like some kind of rubberized beach bum. But at least you won't get a sunburn. With that suit on, there's no way you can. And there'll still be lots of room on the backs of your hands to get a fabulous exotic suntan. Well, that's the moral. Isn't it great? Do I win some kind of prize? Hey, why is everybody looking at me with laughter in their eyes? Well, thanks very much, Narada. That's creative, the moral you found. But another moral has occurred to me that might be a bit more profound. I'll share it with all of you now, my friends. It's quite a bit different from his. So listen carefully to how the book ends, for there just might be a pop quiz. We've all got an egg that we've lost somehow. It's the egg of God realization. If we want to get it back from the ocean of samsara, we must work with great dedication. Samsara means worldly suffering. It's the realm of ignorance and pain, where souls seek pleasures while trapped in fear, doing foolish actions in vain. But there is a way out. We must seek the divine and cry for God with all our soul. We must try to see God in everyone and keep working towards the spiritual goal. So, strive with all your energy to attain God realization. Let your efforts never cease to merge in God through meditation. Seek God realization here and now. Never settle for anything less. Surrender yourself completely to God. Give your life to the great divine quest. To see that God is everywhere, we must love all beings the same. and serve each one with compassion, equal vision being our aim. Like grace, work hard, courageously, to reach the divine goal, and never get discouraged or let despair depress your soul. And if you go through a difficult time, sing to God with all your heart. Remember Amma'S infinite love, and your bliss will surely start. Chant Amma'S mantra around the clock, all year, day in and day out. For her infinite love and amazing grace are really what it's all about. Eventually, if you persevere, she'll come to your salvation and give you that most precious gem, the egg of God realization. Om Amriteshwarye Namaha. Pranams to our beloved Divine Mother, Amma.